Sports reports, no gimmicks, no clowns. 2-5, Mr. Logical, we run this town. Real talk only, no chasing, no doubt. From the east to the west, it's the order we shout. Mic check, lights flash, game time, stay ready. 2 vets in the zone, keep the pressure real heavy. Big hits, big plays, yeah, we breaking it down. Truth rings in your speakers, every word is the crown. From the north side hustle to that southern flame. Midwest grind, west coast of the game. Sports talk kings, yeah, we wear that crown. Turn it up, let them know it's about to go down. Sports reports, no gimmicks, no clowns. 2-5, Mr. Logical, we run this town. Real talk only, no chaser, no doubt. From the east to the west, it's the order we shout.
It's about to go down.
Yes, 2-5 is here, and you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. Sports Reports is ordered as is here. So look, we're going to talk about Coach Prime real quick, in and out. I know the game's about to start. Let's get rowdy, you know what I'm saying? Let's go Tennessee, pull the upset today, all that good stuff. But we here for a very specific purpose, right? So do me a favor out there, like, review, subscribe, share, rate, do all the free things, do all the good things. Hopefully you got a liquid death while you're doing that. But check it out. Last night, Coach Prime takes the guys down to Houston. The Colorado Buffaloes, of course, we're talking about. And I know, before I even go any further, I know the first thing you're going to say is, before he got there, they won 1 game. Absolute fact. You know, hey, they won 9 games last year. Absolute fact. But the problem I have is, well, let me start it off with a question. How long do you have to see the same things and not see improvement before you get to the point of, hey, there's more time necessary, or I've seen enough and I don't think this is going to get any better, right? So, of course, when Deion first took over Colorado, the first thing we heard about was his Louis and his Gucci and all that. He was going to bring all the reinforcements with him. And he did. You know, he brought Shador, Travis Hunter, the gang, everybody, you know. So they went 4-8 that year. Cool. You know, this is your first time playing at this level. We saw the flashes from Shador. He had a great season regardless of the team's record. We knew Travis Hunter was going to be a star, right? So, okay, this year is your opening year. Let's see what happens year 2. So they open up year 2 with a win against North Dakota State, you know, which on the surface, casuals are going to say, so, North Dakota State. But if you watch college football like I watch college football, and I know that y'all watch college football because y'all watch Sports Reports as ordered, y'all know that North Dakota State is a formidable opponent, regardless of the name, regardless of class of division. Okay. But we saw some things in that game. You know, they couldn't stop North Dakota State's offensive line. They couldn't manage the clock correctly. Shador almost threw that game away because they kept calling pass plays with 1.5 minutes left when all they had to do was run the clock out. Theoretically, of course, because they weren't that good at running the ball, but you get the point. So you fast forward a little bit, and I'm going to keep jumping timelines here, so I apologize in advance. But you come back to this season, the first game of the season against Georgia Tech. You know, that last drive, they had a chance to, you know, try to take the lead, get to overtime, all that good stuff. Passing, bad passing, and, you know, just not taking advantage of the clock. What up, Residente? Shout out, you know, to the gang Pursuit of Forever. Wednesdays, 7 o'clock Eastern. So, look, it's the same mistakes. You know, and I know it's year 3 of a turnaround that is supposed to take a long time, but I'm supposed to still be able to see certain improvements. Shador is gone. Travis Hunter is gone. So, of course, the first question coming into the season was he a byproduct of their success? Or can he lead the troops? And that was, you know, I talked about this a couple of months ago. Is he a reloader or a rebuilder? Okay, this is the problem. This is the true problem. This is the transfer portal era. You don't get time to rebuild. I don't care that your name is Deion Sanders. I don't care that you're an NFL Hall of Famer. And guess what? If we go back and look at the clock, he retired back in 2005. So it's not as if this generation watched him play in real time a lot of the time. Actually at all, because he was already retired by the time most of them were born. So it differs from a Michael Vick and a Deshaun Jackson who just got into coaching but are a little more recent. So parents love Deion Sanders. People my age love Deion Sanders because he was one of the best there is, best there was, and best there ever will be. But these kids don't know that Deion. They know motivational speaker Deion. And I'm sorry to tell you, as much as I love to listen to Coach Prime talk, that shit gets real old after a while. Real old. And that's where you got to have the coaches on your staff to offset your lack of experience, your lack of ability to be a tactician. So when you look at somebody like Dabo Swinney, for example, they got Tom Allen as the defensive coordinator this year. And we saw what he did at Penn State. We saw what he's done prior to Penn State. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? He's got Garrett Riley. And if nothing else, you could say 65-7 all you want. I'm going to say Garrett Riley was an offensive coordinator that took a team to the national title game, right? So you look at his staff right now, and you got Warren Sapp as the defensive line coach. Never coached before. You got Marshall Faulk as the running back coach. Never coached before. You got Pat Shurmur as the offensive coordinator. So look, looking at his resume, right, back in 2013, he led the Philadelphia Eagles as the offensive coordinator under Chip Kelly to their highest points in the season and their highest yardage total. That was 2013. He won the NFL Assistant of the Year when he was working with the Minnesota Vikings. That was 2017. And so you start to see some of the problems that you see within football coaching. You see these retreads, people that have had success at one time or another, so you can justify yourself and say, hey, there's success in there somewhere. Yeah, their success is in there somewhere 10 to 12 years ago. So now you got Byron Leftwich on staff as the quarterback's coach. Not going to knock that. He won the Super Bowl as an offensive coordinator. But, so that's going to take time too. But this is where, and maybe that's the play, right? Because Pat Shurmur's already getting thrown under the bus. So maybe at some point you fire Pat Shurmur, Byron Leftwich steps in as the offensive coordinator. Where have I seen that before? Oh, yeah, it was last year when Sean Lewis was the offensive coordinator and he got all the blame. And they said, you know what? You get on out of here. We're going to hire Pat Shurmur up in here. I mean, he was already on staff, but whatever. So history repeats itself maybe, but at what point? Because all I'm going to hear is, what is Colorado? Colorado sucks. Colorado has a national title within their history, and that was a very long time ago too, but it's there. Colorado, played for a Pac-12 title within the last 10 years before the conference blew up. So yes, they weren't at the peak of their abilities when Coach Prime took over, but I would argue they're not at the peak of their abilities right now. Last year, they had a chance to go to the Big 12 championship game. What did they do? They went and got smacked up and down the field by the Jayhawks, who didn't even make a bowl. They get to the bowl game. They play against BYU. They got stomped out by some Mormons, okay? That's what happened in that bowl game. I know the score says 36-20, but if you watch that game like I watched that game, it was more like 51-7. And that's just being honest. I love Coach Prime. This is not coming from a place of hate. This is coming from a place of watching football and deducing what I'm seeing on the field. What I'm seeing in these press conferences. Deion is great if you want motivational speaking. If you want to go see a pastor at his pulpit. As a football coach, there might still be some that needs to be worked on there. So I know TCU was going to hire him or they were talking to him at one point. Arkansas was talking to him at one point. So you have those recruiting bases in the state of Texas that would have helped him guide along. But at Colorado, he has to go nationwide pimping to get these players into Colorado. And it's the transfer era. And as much as I like Colorado, and I'll go get my jersey out the closet if you don't believe me, but as much as I like Colorado, they are not Ohio State. They are not Alabama. They are not Georgia, Florida State, Florida, LSU, so on and so forth. They're not even Michigan. Just had to say that. What up, Cups and Mike? But anyway, so the name Deion Sanders doesn't carry as much weight with this generation as we would think it would. And that's why Colorado's where they are now. So let me know what you think. Should Colorado keep this going? Should Coach Prime step down? Is Coach Prime cooked? Sports Reports is ordered. Out.
Kings, yeah, we wear that crown. Turn it up, let them know it's about to go down.
Love y'all.
Sports reports, no gimmicks, no clowns. 2-5, Mr. Logical, we run this town. Real talk only, no chaser, no doubt. From the east to the west, it's the order we shout.